welcome everyone. And let me just get my slides up. And everybody, if you can just mute yourself. I thought I had selected mute upon arrival, but clearly I had not. So I just need to, yes, perfect. If everyone can just mute themselves. Might have to start having a second host if these events start getting big, so I can have somebody managing the Zoom as we come in. All right, everybody, welcome to tonight. Actually, you're not seeing my screen, so I'm obviously hitting it off with the tech today, but we'll get there. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen now. Sean, you can see my screen. All right, everyone, welcome to tonight's AMA, where we're going to be talking about a very hot topic on AI prompt engineering, which I think is a very valuable skill to be learning and developing. I personally have been going down that rabbit hole, so I'm very excited to be picking Sean's brain today. This is being brought to you by All Things Blockchain, Off-Chain, and Women in Digital Economy, which are three organizations that are basically coming together and collaborating to build a bigger and vibrant, more larger community. As I said, we are going to be speaking with Sean Anderson today. He does many different things in the space, but one of the hats that he wears is AI prompt engineering and helping people and businesses learn how they can maximize their potential by using AI tools. And he'll share a little bit more about his story. He's actually leaving us to go to Dubai to be the director of technology. So he will explain a little bit about his journey and the types of service and products that he has to offer. For those of you that haven't met me before, my name is Danielle Marie. I'm not going to bang on too much about all the things that I do, but as you can see, I'm a Web3 educator and community builder. I'm the founder of Women in Digital Economy. I'm the founder of All Things Blockchain. I am one of the co-founders of Brisbane Off-Chain Brisbane. And then also I am in the blockchain committee for the ACS. So I wear many different hats in the Web3 ecosystem. If you want to connect with me and learn a little bit more about me or how I could potentially help you from education to community building to collaborating on potential projects, you can go ahead and scan that QR code. Best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn or send me an inquiry on my website. I've been in this space since 2017 and absolutely passionate about anything education and community building. So please reach out to me. So now I just want to quickly talk a little bit about All Things Blockchain. For those of you that don't know, it's a nonprofit association that I founded back in November 2020. And we're a community built by the community for the community. And we run purely off of volunteers and sponsors. And these events wouldn't happen. You know, I may be the founder and I may drive it, but it wouldn't happen without my lovely volunteers. So I always like to acknowledge these are the people behind the scenes that help us make our in-person events happen. We're actually expanding. I've actually got 4 more people to be putting up on this slide because we're expanding and going to be doing a lot more online events, and we're going to be offering a lot more value. So big shout out to them, and anyone that's interested in being a part of the ATB community, please reach out to me. We're always looking for more volunteers to help us grow. Big shout out to our sponsors. The in real life events could not happen if you get a chance to come, and I'm going to mention a few of our in real life events in just a moment. But these are just some of our sponsors that basically help us pay for the overhead costs. Even though we're a nonprofit, we still have operational costs, and it does cost money, and they're the ones that provide us the operational costs and allow us to be able to run this organization. I am going to ask as people do come in, if you can, please just make sure that you're muted. I thought I had selected the mute function as you come in, but it's obviously not working. So if you just please make sure that you're muted, that'd be much appreciated. We will open up for a Q&A, and you can unmute yourself and ask questions then. So I just want to quickly talk about our collaboration partners. So Off-Chain is a global nonprofit association. If you go travel, you can go onto their website and they have different chapters. So that's why I'm the co-founder with Matt in Brisbane. So we're collaborating with them to basically bring the community together on more of a global scale. RFox is really cool. These AMA events will be being hosted in RFox and Women in Digital Economy. Sorry. Oh, that's going to try me. I think they've muted themselves. Okay. Women in Digital Economy, which is one of the organizations that I've founded. So we've collaborated with them. So if you want to learn more about Offchain, just go to their website, okay, offchain.social. You can learn about the different types of events. They're in Sydney, Melbourne. If somebody that's on this call that's not from Queensland, they've got meetups that are happening globally as well. So go and check out their website. Women in Digital Economy, we are developing mentorship programs that are specifically around helping women basically transition their careers or businesses into the Web3 and AI ecosystem. So if you want to learn more about that, just go and visit our website. And then same with RFox. I highly recommend that you go and check them out, because in future, hopefully next month, all of our AMAs and our online events are going to be hosted in their metaverse. For those of you that have the Oculus goggles, you guys can tune in and you can put on your goggles and have this kind of whole VR experience. But we're just waiting for the WebGL version to be ready, and all of our future events will be hosted in the metaverse. So that's pretty cool. So go and check out some of those collaboration projects. Just before we jump into the part that we're all here for, I just want to go over some upcoming events. Okay, so it is an AMA series. Every 2 weeks I will be interviewing an expert in some industry, and the next one that I'm going to be hosting is the future of stablecoins. There's a lot of opportunity and growth for that sector. I was actually listening to a podcast by Web3 Academy today, and they were talking about how if anybody knows about the Saga phone, okay, they took payment in either crypto card, or you can pay in crypto or USDC, and half of the people paid in USDC, and they saved themselves, I think, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was like $600,000 in fees just by using a stable coin. So for a business, that's a huge application of applying stable coins into your business. So if you want to learn about stable coins, the future of them, any question that you have, come along, and we'll be talking to Erez, who's the founders of Stables.money. We also have the monthly ATB meetups, which are on the first Wednesday of every month. And for those of you that are not local, we do live stream all of our events, so you can attend those events as well. But these are in real life ones where we provide you free food and drink. So please come down and join us. And in honor of International Women's Day, we are having a female founders panel. All of these women are building businesses in the Web3, and they're going to share their insights on how they have been building businesses in the space. And then the last thing that I'm going to mention before we jump into the fun part is Blockchain Australia. If you're unsure of Blockchain Australia, they are the national association body for all of Australia, and they have recently launched a calendar. So I don't care where you are, if you're in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, you can go on there. You can see some of our events are in there. You can see Solana had a meetup, OzDeFi. So you can go on there and you can see what meetups are happening locally, online events, in person. So it's a really good resource to be finding events and tapping into the community near you. We have the big AI and Web3 convention that is coming up in May 18th and 19th. So for all of you that are interested in AI, I am heavily involved in helping with the convention on many different levels. And we're actually organizing an AI workshop. So some more information to be coming about that. But anybody that is looking for a ticket, we've got discounted tickets, 45% off until the end of February. And then the discounted prices go down. All you have to do is enter all things blockchain as you're checking out, and you get an extra bit of a discount. So I highly recommend that if you are planning on going, that you can go and attend that. If you are a student, they have a student price as well. So go to their website, and they are offering discounted prices for students. So I think that's everything that I have to go through today. If you want to stay up to date or follow us on socials, as I mentioned, All Things Blockchain is going to be expanding our community more nationally and then eventually globally. So we'd love to connect with you. We're going to be doing a lot more adding value, educational posts, etc. So go ahead and connect with us. And now we are going to start the AMA. So with saying that, I am going to start off by asking Sean some questions myself. If you have questions, you can put them into the chat, and we will also be going through those. I can see that there is a question already. Is the convention online as well? It will be being live streamed. Yes, the AI and Web3 convention. So we will be jumping in our conversation with Sean, and let me just bring up my Q&A. So first of all, thank you, Sean, and welcome to tonight. And
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you. I want to just start off by quickly, if you can give the audience a bit of a background on your journey. I know that you started in recruitment and then you went to blockchain and Web3, and I know that you're still involved in both of those, but it kind of led you down to this path of AI consulting. So what led you there, and what kind of sparked your interest in kind of specializing in being a prompt engineer?
Yeah, firstly, I'll address the elephant in the room. I'll just tell a little funny story that Danielle is aware of. You're probably wondering what's the story with the background here. It turns out that my office is closed after 5:30, so I had to find a little place, a little secluded sort of area upstairs in a shopping mall. So I just wanted to address that in case you're wondering what's the go with the background. But yeah, in terms of
Well,
my
and the
back.
funny part is though, is that your laptop and everything is also still
Yeah.
in
So my
in
lap,
there.
I had a little office set up, little private, exclusive office set up there, and I had my laptop in there, and so yeah, apologies for the
You
shaking with
had
the
to get that
phone.
workout in, didn't you?
I had to get that working in. So yeah, apologies for the shaky phone and perhaps the poor quality. But yeah, hopefully I can address all your questions regardless of where I'm based. But yeah, so my journey, it started obviously, as Danielle mentioned. My background it was firstly software development in Dublin, and then transitioned into tech recruitment. And then how AI consulting came about was pretty much as soon as OpenAI released ChatGPT, I started using it immediately. I was just fascinated with it. And the first thing that I sort of realized is that, hey, this can perhaps automate tedious, mundane admin tasks to do with recruitment. So it turns out that after, trial and error prompting ChatGPT, I managed to automate mundane admin tasks. So things like, writing job descriptions as a recruiter, posting job adverts, sending emails, cold BD messages, this sort of thing. So it was only when I started automating my own work and saving 90 minutes of my own day that some guys that I used to work with wanted my services, and they basically, they said, hey, look, there's probably a gap in the market, there's probably something there worth exploring where you can monetize it in a way, make money from it. So that's essentially how the AI consulting journey began, and I started reaching out to existing clients of mine in the recruitment sphere, and then saying, look, not only can I provide recruitment services, but I can also train your teams how to talk to AI so you can automate X, Y, and Z. And yeah, here we are now, still doing AI consulting on the side. I have, as Danielle mentioned, I just secured a big gig in Dubai as the director of technology. So that's going to be sort of the core focus, but certainly still going to be doing a lot of AI consulting on the side as well, because there's a lot of demand in that space. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's so much I want to unpack there. Like I use
Yeah.
AI every single day, but I don't think I don't
Mm.
have it automated. Like it's still a very manual process for me, and it accelerates everything. So I definitely want to learn, what kind of tools. But before we jump into that, because those are some of my future questions.
Hmm.
But yeah, the demand is definitely there. Um, you know, can you maybe share with us if there was any kind of pivotal kind of experiences or projects that kind of shaped your pathway of kind of going down the emerging technology space? Because I know that you're in the Web3, you're moving into Dubai, but like where was that moment that you kind of like decided that, hey, I'm not going to just do like recruitment and I see a
Mm.
huge opportunity in the tech space and kind of go down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, I think, look, I've always been pretty tech savvy person. I've always been very interested and passionate about technology in general. And sort of how my emerging technology journey began was in Dublin. So I started meeting with, because I meet with candidates, right? I meet with developers all the time, but I started meeting with blockchain engineers, right? Blockchain developers. And I was like, what is that? What is blockchain? I had no idea what it was at the time. This is going back to, I think, this would have been 2016. And I had heard of Bitcoin, but I didn't really take notice of it. It went up to 20K and then it sort of crashed. And I'm like, it's probably just some sort of Ponzi scheme, whatever. But it wasn't until I started actually meeting with blockchain developers and understanding the code that they're writing, with Solidity and Hardhat and Truffle and all these various technologies within the Web3 space, that I started actually going down that rabbit hole and really probing them and asking them a bunch of questions. And then that's when I started, going down that rabbit hole of reading the Bitcoin white paper and understanding what a blockchain is, and how Ethereum blockchain differs from Bitcoin blockchain and so forth. So that's pretty much how the emerging tech journey started for me. Really, it was really just that curiosity of going down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay. And before we jump into my specific questions around AI and the prompting and all that, in your opinion, where do you see the convergence of blockchain and AI? Or like, where do you see that huge value proposition that AI can have, knowing that you understand blockchain and you understand the power of AI? Like, where do you see them coming together?
I think AI definitely helps with expediting various, let's say, solutions for issues that exist within blockchain. So obviously we commonly know as the blockchain trilemma, right? Trying to it doesn't seem to be at this point any blockchain that is really achieving all three at once, not that I've noticed, without some sort of compromise. So I think that AI will really help in terms of expediting that process to build solutions to that problem. For instance, there's a company called I think it's IOTEX. So they are leveraging AI as well as Internet of Things with the blockchain. I think they're leveraging blockchain as well as DAG as well. So a combination of the two. But I think that's where AI is going to play a role with blockchain. It's the same way you've got technological singularity, right? The technological singularity is the point in which technology becomes irreversible, right? Where all these emerging pieces of technology combine to become one. So that's sort of where we're heading.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm excited to see where we're going. And one of our team actually did an educational post on that company. I don't know much about it myself, but now I want to go and go down the rabbit hole. Keep the questions coming in the chat. We will circle back to them. But I want to ask, in your experience, what are some of the most common mistakes that people make when they're interacting with AI platforms? And we're going to use ChatGPT because I think that's probably the most kind of common. So when people are using ChatGPT, whether it be for themselves or in their businesses, what's the most common mistake that you're seeing that people are doing?
Yeah, great question. I think for sure the most common mistake is just prompting AI incorrectly, right? So what I tend to see a lot is people will prompt ChatGPT, right? They will use it once and then they don't get the desired output, and then they either give up or they say, "Oh, that output's too robotic. It doesn't sound human enough." Do you know what I mean? There's no tonality to it. So what that comes down to is the prompt. It's got nothing to do with ChatGPT, because this is how it was for me at the start. When I started prompting AI ChatGPT, I didn't get the desired output, and I thought the same thing, right? But I'm the type of person, I'm very curious, and I like to trial and error until I get what I want, right? So that would be the biggest mistake for sure. People just incorrectly structuring their prompts. The prompts need to be as elaborate as possible, and you need to treat AI and ChatGPT like it's a human. You can't treat it like it's Google, right? Because when we go and search something on Google, we don't provide any context whatsoever, right? We just put in some random question without any context. You can't do that with AI or ChatGPT. You need to provide context. You need to treat it like a human. So if we were to discuss any topic, Danielle, I wouldn't just, ask you a question or state something without providing any sort of context, right? So that's the most important thing. Yeah. And that will significantly change the output, right? Based on how you structure your prompts. And we'll go through that. Like I'll be able to give everyone the sort of the structure. So I use a 7-step structure to my prompts. So I'll be able to share that with everyone.
Oh, perfect. I'm looking forward to that because I know I have improved my prompts, but at the same time I keep different chats for different things. So because I'm trying
Mm.
to make sure that that kind of learns a little bit of what I'm trying to get it to do. But
Yep.
then I will tell it, I'm like, no, say it in this tone, or no, you've done it wrong. I love it the best when it tells me it can't do something. And I'm like, yes, you can. And
Yep.
it will tell me now, like, oh no, I can't search the internet. I'm like, yes, you can. Now go search for this and come back and
Yep.
give me a source. And then it does it. But it's like it constantly needs to be prompted and kind of told what it can do.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And you know, you can another mistake is that people don't put in custom instructions, right? Because there's a feature with ChatGPT when you can add in custom instructions, so it can bypass certain things. You know, so like you'll probably notice a lot of the time when you ask ChatGPT to generate something, it'll say, "Oh, you know, I've only been trained up until April 2022. That's outside of my knowledge," or you know, it tries to be too politically correct, right?
But is
So
that on does that happen also on the paid version, or is that just,
that's
I thought it was the
that's
unpaid
yeah,
version?
that's just 3.5. Yeah, so that's 3.5 where there's no access to the internet. So I presume that perhaps a lot of the people viewing in, tuning in here, perhaps are on 3.5, maybe not be paying for it. But if you are paying for it, then yeah, it can access the internet. But still, I would definitely suggest adding custom instructions. That's in the settings. It'll be in the beta features section. So add custom instructions, and then you can bypass politically correct responses that you might get from ChatGPT. Yeah.
Oh, well, that was one of my, it actually leads me into my next thing is, what are some of your top tips and tricks for crafting effective prompts that lead to, more accurate and useful AI responses? So that's leading me right into that question. So custom
Yep.
instructions. Now, can you
Yeah.
set custom instructions once? And does that apply to every chat that I have?
That
Or,
applies to every new chat that you start. That won't apply to, as far as I'm aware, that doesn't apply to old chats.
okay.
Yeah. So it has to be, you know, as soon as you set it, and from my understanding, it might have been updated recently, or that they're about to roll, because you know they roll things out to the US first, right? And then it eventually makes its way to Australia. But at the moment, you have to set the custom instructions for each new conversation.
Oh, that's annoying. And can you give us an example of like what would be like a custom instruction?
So a custom instruction could be something like if you are okay. So if you want ChatGPT or any sort of GPT model that you're building within ChatGPT to establish a persona, right? So you are a doctor, right? Here are my symptoms. Then you can put into the custom instructions. Do not tell me that you aren't a doctor, because I know that you're not a doctor, ChatGPT. You don't need to tell me that do you know, like things like that where it says, oh, just for your record, I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a lawyer, I'm not this, I'm not that. So you can set in custom instructions so it bypasses that nonsense, so you can just get straight to the output. That's an
Okay.
example. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And so would a tool, like would an AI consultant come into like an organization and help them kind of determine some of the custom instructions and prompts and frameworks? Is that something like a service that you provide your clients?
Yeah, so an AI consultant. So I'm working with a company who we can talk about a little bit later called Veso, right? But basically, what an AI consultant would do with a particular platform, right, is you essentially are setting up all the prompts for the business, right? So let's say if I'm working with a business, firstly, I want to be training the team how to talk to AI, right? Just training them on the art of prompt engineering and how to effectively communicate and prompt AI. That's the first thing. The second thing is training them on data and privacy related things, right? Making sure that they're not sharing data that's confidential to the company and dumping it into ChatGPT, because that's obviously not a good idea. And yeah, just helping them sort of structure their prompts, and understanding it. It's basically a lot of Q&A, right? It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of questions on asking them about what it is they do on a day-to-day basis. You know, what's your headache? Where are your pain points? Where are your inefficiencies in the business? Or usually from their questions, I can then from my questions, and then from their answers, I can usually identify the inefficiencies in their workflow, right? And then I can show them how they can prompt AI to automate X, Y, and Z, right? But what I can do, and what I have been doing, is I provide them with templates, right? So if they say,
Yeah.
oh, hey, so for example, I work with a digital marketing agency, right? And they want to automate blog posts. I can show them how to structure those prompts so that ChatGPT can automate, it can generate SEO, like I'm talking 2,000, 3,000 word SEO optimized blog posts on the topic of anything, right? While implementing focus keywords, semantic keywords, all of that sort of thing. So it's just, it's a lot of, yeah.
Sorry, but doesn't Google, I heard, and maybe this comes, actually, it's funny, this is just naturally happening. One of the misconceptions about AI and prompting, I was told through the grapevine that like Google penalizes if you know, they can tell that you've used AI, and like, you know, you're saying optimize SEO. Is that just like misconception?
Yeah, no chance, no chance, absolutely no chance. They say that, right? They come out these, oh yeah, we have these AI detection tools. Not a chance, doesn't work. It depends on your prompting. If your prompting is terrible, then yeah, sure, right? If your prompting is bad, and you know, you don't establish a persona, or you know, the style and tone of the writing, then yeah, sure, it's going to be pretty easy to distinguish that that's written by AI, right? Generated by AI. But if your prompts are extremely elaborate and they're structured to the point where it's indistinguishable from human generated content, I promise you right now, those detection tools, those detection tools don't work on anything that I prompt. That's for sure. I've used them, I've tried them, they don't work.
But well, full disclosure, I use them maybe for uni, and and they say that they have detection tools, and I call BS on that. So before I go on to my next question, it sounds like it's a very kind of customized experience with your clients. You said that you also have templates and stuff, like, not that we're going to go in it today, but I feel that a lot of people are coming to me, including myself, on being like, I want to learn, you know, how I can use AI, but obviously maybe can't afford to have a full kind of consultant. Like, is there still something where, you know, some sort of kind of templates or tools or things, or a type of workshop that we could maybe, not now, but in the future potentially do, that could be more kind of generic, but people would still get value from it and still be able to go and apply it in their day-to-day life and not be customized?
Yeah, there are certainly workshops that we can, you know, arrange to get that sort of thing done. There are websites where you can buy prompts. You can actually buy templates. But yeah, obviously they cost money, you know. So like most things, you know, it's like if I do consulting, obviously I charge because there's a lot of value in it, you know, and it automates a lot of time and effort for a business. But yeah, absolutely, it's definitely 100% feasible to set up some sort of workshop, right, and help people understand the fundamentals. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see if there's a demand for that, and if so, then maybe we can
Yeah.
talk about another one before you escape or
Yeah.
run away to die. But that kind of takes me to my next question before we, a few more questions before we open it up to the audience, and I do see some questions coming in the chat, so I will circle back to those. But my next one is on recommendations and advice, and you just mentioned that there's some websites for AI prompting. Can you maybe share one that you think is actually a good platform for people to maybe look into?
To be completely honest, I haven't used website. I know there are websites out there, but I haven't used websites to actually purchase prompts myself, just because I feel that I'm pretty, you know, proficient at doing it myself.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're too lazy to prompt it, or you know, you're time constrained, then yeah, that literally you just type in ChatGPT prompts. Literally, just type that into Google, and there'll be a ton of different websites where there's lots of templates and prompts to choose from. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so for individuals or businesses that are looking to leverage AI platforms, I know that we've talked about ChatGPT, but Are there
Mm.
other top recommended kind of platforms that that you kind of have on your radar, the top platforms that you maybe use in your own business and recommend to other
Mm.
businesses?
Yeah, so I think if you're an individual, firstly, I think ChatGPT is sufficient enough for sure as an individual, because you're not really, you're not sharing any confidential data. So this is just as an individual, right? If you're at home and you want to want the answer to whatever it is, I think ChatGPT is fine. The next alternative I would suggest is Grok. So that's Elon Musk's competitor. You can access it through X, but I think you have to be a premium user. So you have to pay for the services regardless, whether you're going through X or ChatGPT. But they would be the best. They would be the best that I would recommend for generative text. When it comes to imagery, I would recommend Midjourney and Leonardo. Right. So Midjourney would be number one in my opinion. I've used both Midjourney and Leonardo. But if you're looking to generate extremely high quality images, I'm talking images that are indistinguishable from human generated content, right? And it's crazy that they need to start watermarking this stuff, because it's like you just can't tell the difference. But Leonardo is actually an Australian company, by the way, guys.
I know
But
that because I'm
yeah,
actually in conversations with them to deliver I
yeah,
didn't mention it at the start because it's still in negotiation. Like they have verbally confirmed.
yeah,
But didn't hear they're gonna lead the AI workshop at the AI and Web3 convention. So I'm excited.
yeah, yeah. So Leonardo is really good. I would say that they're, in my opinion, number two to Midjourney. But they would be the top two for image generation. And then when it comes to music generation, a client of mine is called Splash. So they're based out of Brisbane, actually. Well, they're in the Fortitude Valley. They're in the Gen AI, or artificial intelligence hub in the valley.
Okay.
And that they are building an AI music platform, essentially, that's generating music to support up and coming artists, where you can automatically extract stems from tracks. So they're doing huge things. They're up there with the likes of Google and Stability. Like they're top three globally at the moment for Gen AI music. So I'd check them out. And then for video, I don't know if anyone's seen, but OpenAI have just released their new product called Sora, and it is absolutely mind-bending. It's crazy. Have you
Have you
seen it,
tried it?
Danielle?
I heard of it, but I haven't gone down to even look or
It's
try it.
It's ridiculous. So, for those who are listening right now, jump on Twitter or X and just type in Sora, chat or OpenAI Sora, Sora, right? And you'll see some of the videos that people have been generating with a single text prompt. Just a basic single text prompt, and it will generate a video from scratch up to 60 seconds. And it is like crazy. I don't have access to it yet. It's only available to pretty
Devs?
much the top AI influencers globally, essentially. So, I'm not quite there yet. I want to be, I want to be there eventually, where I can get these beta testing releases. But yeah, as soon as that's released, I'm going to be all over that. But yeah, they would be my recommendations for the best platforms. And then if you're looking for ChatGPT capabilities at a cheaper cost and it's more secure, then I would recommend a company called Veso.ai. So that's VESO AI. Now, I vouch for these guys because I've done some work with them, right? Directly, I've met with the founder, and what they've built is it's really incredible. It's basically, like I said, it's much cheaper alternative for businesses. It's geared towards businesses. It's more secure in the sense that if you're an employee, you don't have to worry about sharing sensitive information, data, and that being shared with Microsoft servers or anything like that. It's all hosted entirely within your own servers, within your business's networks. It's all centralized and hosted internally. So yeah, that would be my recommendations.
Oh, well, I think that was a good amount of recommendations.
Yeah.
A couple more questions before I hand it over to the audience. So, with the emerging trends of AI and prompting engineering, what should be, how can we stay aware? Like, for example, we all know crypto Twitter. You're supposed to be on crypto Twitter to stay up to date with all the news. But what about with AI and the latest advancements? And like, I knew about Sora because I actually do a weekly newsletter, and I
Hmm.
was looking for AI news. And that's how I knew about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you to stay up to date with the AI advancements?
So I think that's the way, right? I don't think X or Twitter. It's not specific to crypto. I think it's the town hall for all emerging technology. I don't think it's just blockchain, Web three. I think it's AI, IoT, you know, um, uh, VR, AR. I think it's the whole shebang. I think X is the place to be for all of these things because that's where I find all my information. If I were to recommend a newsletter where you get daily emails about all the up to date sort of key trends and everything, I would recommend following a guy on X called Rowan Chong or Chewing. So it's Rowan, Rowan. This is all one word, of course. And the surname is Cheung, I believe. So he would be the most established and well-known AI influencer, I suppose you could say, in the space in AI globally. He has a newsletter, so you can sign up to that. That's a free newsletter, and then you can receive all the sort of updates, trends in the AI space. So that's what I'd recommend. But X is the place to be. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Okay, so now I see that there were some questions, and I'm going to roll this question in that was in the chat about becoming an AI prompt engineer. I think it was saying what how long or what qualifications do you need to be an AI consultant? I think another one was how long do you have to be kind of in this field to be an AI consultant? So I'm going to kind of roll all of these kind of questions into how do you see, the role of an AI prompt engineer kind of evolving over the near future? Because we all keep talking about how AI is going to take jobs. Is this a potential
Mm.
skill set
Yeah.
that a lot of businesses are going to need? And I had a call with a AI a marketing specialist, and she says we build tools, but we they're drafts. You still need the human element. You still need to be able to give it its prompting. You still need to. So yes, it increases your productivity, but they're gonna need people that can kind of specialize in that.
Mm-hmm.
So and then back off of that, what kind of advice would you give anybody that is kind of looking to develop their skill sets or maybe kind of go down and becoming an AI prompt engineer?
So there's three things there. So firstly, I'll just say if don't if you're time constrained when it comes to creating your own prompts, then again, I would recommend something like Verso AI, right? Because what that means is when you pay for a platform like that, all those prompts are ready to go for whichever job you do. It doesn't matter if you're a recruiter, if you're a digital marketing expert, or whatever function that you fall into. That platform allows you to have prompts like templates ready to go, right? So it's literally just drag and drop. You don't have to think or anything. It's just drag and drop. It's just perfected for your job. Now, in terms of AI and getting into that as a job, there's two buckets there, right? So there's the technical bucket, which is like hands-on coding, and then there's the consulting sort of path, right? Which is the path that I've gone down. So we'll start with AI engineer, right? If you want to get into the thick of it and start working with these innovative companies that are building really cool AI powered tech, right? That's literally changing the landscape of the tech sphere, then I would recommend learning Python, right? So Python as a programming language, or R is good. So if you want to go down that route, additionally, things like TensorFlow, MATLAB, Keras, yeah, you want to be familiarizing yourself with this. Obviously, neural networks. You obviously want to have very deep knowledge of machine learning and deep learning, right? Because that's fundamental to becoming an AI engineer. So if you want to go down that technical route, that's what I would suggest. if you want to go down the path of what I'm doing, which is AI consulting, you don't need a certificate. You just need to put yourself out there, right? I don't have any specific qualification in AI consulting. You just need to put yourself out there, right? You just need to get out there to as many events as possible, right? As you know, Danielle, as I have been, right? Bugging you and everyone around you. And it's not bugging, right? It's literally just putting yourself out there as just as a person that you want to be friends with and connect with, right? Like a genuine cool person. I don't know, like at a networking event, right?
It's
Just put yourself out
networking.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's just networking. It's just meeting friends. There's nothing overly complicated about it. It's just putting yourself out there, meeting with new people, and then eventually the question comes up: Hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do this, but I'm actually really good at AI consulting. I've automated this amount of work in my current day to day. I've helped the rest of my team. The founder, the CEO of my business vouches for me, right? And that's what you want to be doing. Yeah, just putting
Okay,
yourself out
that's
there.
great when they're there, but how do
Yeah,
you, so there's a self-development program that I'm a part of, and I did that, how I started when I started All Things Blockchain, and I was starting my studies and doing the diploma and the advanced diploma. I
yeah,
knew that I needed to develop the skill sets before I could earn the right. And what we call it, the earn
yeah,
the right, is that for people to pay me for that service. But in
yeah.
between that, I was like, I'm going to go to as many events as I can, and I'm going to network as much as I can. And then I just started organizing the events so that I could actually connect with the people that were the experts in the space. And that's how I
Yep,
positioned myself.
yep,
But what
yep.
about the people that are on this call that are like, okay, great, I can go out there and network, but I still like, how do I
The
become,
skills. How
yeah,
do I
how do
get the
they
skills?
develop the
Yeah, yeah,
skills?
yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'll expand on that. So again, connecting with people. So let's say, firstly, I would start reaching out to. Well, I mean, firstly, okay, let's just go to the bottom, right? I would just trial and error, right, on ChatGPT. Just any of these AI
You didn't take
platforms.
a course or do anything as
No,
well.
I didn't. No, I didn't take a course or anything. It was just literally trial and error on ChatGPT, on Midjourney, just prompting again and again and again and again until you understand. Oh, okay, this is how I need to structure my prompts, right? Because when after constant trial and error, you learn from your mistakes, right? And you realize that this is how I need to structure my prompts to get the desired output, right? So it's a lot of trial and error, as well as connecting with the right people on LinkedIn, right? So I would suggest just connecting with AI leaders in the space, right? If you see a machine learning engineer or head of ML, whatever it may be, working for a company, connect with them, right? Just send a friendly note. Just say, hey, I'm looking to get into AI consulting. Is there anything that you would recommend me doing, or that sort of thing helps. I did do that as well. I connected with some people. I absorbed their knowledge, right, of the space, and then just a lot of educating yourself. Just online, understanding the basic sort of things. What is prompting, what is RAG, which is retrieval augmented generative AI information, right? These sort of things. So it's all of those things. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like just a lot of getting out there and learning trial by error.
exactly.
Um,
Just take action. Stop ruminating and just take action.
Yeah, I'm just going through some of these questions. As much as I'd love to answer all of them, Jordan, I'm sorry I'm not going to go down the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, because it's a little bit out of the context of the wheelhouse of what we're talking about tonight, because I'm sure we could talk for hours, and I'm mindful of time. And I'm also mindful that poor Sean's having to hold his phone because he's
So
locked himself
yeah.
out of
My arm's numb. It's all good. Don't worry.
It's okay. Okay. Can you recommend, this person wants to know, I know we talked on it a little bit, but maybe just any resources for people that are wanting to learn advanced prompt engineering? Would you just say trial and error, just practicing?
Yeah, honestly, trial and error. I mean, there are certainly educational courses online with video content, right? So like things like Udemy, right? udemy.com or Udacity or Coursera. There are these platforms where they have educational videos where you pay something like $20 and they can go through sort of prompt engineering. I'm sure I'm sure there's something like that on there for sure.
Mhm.
But for me personally, it was just trial and error, and every day. Like I'm talking, I've been using ChatGPT and other various other AI tools literally every day since they were released. So that's all it is. It's getting
Yeah.
stuck in. That there's no better way to learn, right? You can read through as many articles as possible and scour the web for X, Y, and Z, but there's no better way to learn than to be just hands-on, just getting stuck into it. That's the best way to learn.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of losing my job when COVID hit, and it actually
Mm.
forced me into going into Web3 full throttle. And
Yep.
I actually was lucky enough to get a job with a software development firm that specializes in blockchain. What
Yep.
I learned for working with that company for 6 months at an entry level position, like I wasn't even earning that much,
Mm.
is more than I've learned in the last 2 years in my bachelor's of information systems. And
Hmm.
I've actually been able to, and obviously I've progressed since then and I've worked for some startups and all that, but I've actually been able to challenge the curriculum that they're teaching at university. And I actually say to the lecturers, I'm like, that's incorrect. And they're like, we agree with you. And so it actually
Yep.
frustrates me because
Yep.
I'm not going to go down too much of this rabbit hole, but like I'm an international student and I have to pay, all this money, and I'm paying them, $3,500 a subject for them to teach me something that I can learn more by just going and getting an entry level position. And this is why I really vouch for all of my students.
Exactly.
Take an unpaid internship for 3 months. Is actually, you learn by two ways: by getting paid and by experience, and you can fast track your learning. So people need to forget that mindset of, oh,
100%.
being paid for the work, because the amount of experience that you get from that hands-on learning, I'm a big
Exactly.
advocate for it.
A 100%. I will just say as well, sorry, I've been seeing a lot of comments there on the bottom saying that
I know.
the link doesn't work. So I'll just give you the correct link. So it's Veso, VESO, Nexus, NEXUS.com, right? So VesoNexus.com. That's the website for that company I
Did they
mentioned earlier.
change their website? Because I thought it used to be Veso.ai.
Yeah, it did. So they've revamped the website, the website big time. Yeah. So
Okay.
VesoNexus.com is the best one. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if somebody finds chat. Wheeler says they're not finding the custom instructions in the beta section settings. Is that only available for paid, or is it, or maybe they just can't find it? Is that available for everyone? Just
My understanding is that it's just paid.
okay. That
Yeah,
might
I
be.
haven't look. I honestly I haven't checked 3.5 for a while because I've been using the
Yeah,
paid
neither
version.
did I.
So
That's
yeah,
why people say to me all the time, they're like, "It can't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, it can." And then I forget that I'm on a paid version because I couldn't not be on the paid version.
yeah.
Okay, Sean, what is your take on Gemini AI? Better than ChatGPT? I realize both behave very differently with prompts. Is it because Gemini has the advantages of extracting from Google's database at its fingertips? I know that ChatGPT's last update was in 2022. I've never really seen the issue with Gemini. It seems to me very up to date.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't used. I've used Bard. I don't know if Gemini is the new name for
Google's,
Bard.
yes, yeah.
Uh,
It was,
so I haven't used Bard since it became now Gemini, I suppose. But when I used Bard, it was absolutely terrible. It was so bad. It was slow. It was inaccurate. So I haven't actually used Gemini. I have used Grok though. So Elon Musk's one. So I would vouch for ChatGPT as number. To be honest, I'd even probably vouch for Grok as number one now, just because it's. I'm a big advocate for freedom of speech, right? And obviously, X is the platform, the only platform that is censorship resistant, right? Where anything sort of goes. So I like that, and that's built into the algorithms of Grok, right, on X. So if I were to suggest an alternative to ChatGPT, I'd suggest Grok. Yeah.
isn't that funny? Because Elon Musk was originally a part of ChatGPT, and then
OpenAI, yeah, he was.
yeah,
He was the
OpenAI,
he
yeah,
was he was the
the
founder.
original founder.
Yeah, and he hired Sam Altman, I believe.
Mm.
And yeah, now he's competing. So Yeah.
So this is actually a kind of a good distinction here. So, by an AI consultant, do you mean work as a prompt engineer? And so can you maybe clarify to people, because there may be AI consulting, because prompt engineering is maybe just one part of AI consulting. So maybe if you can kind of help give them a bit of a definition of other services that you might provide a company other than the prompt engineering.
Yeah, so obviously prompt engineering is a big aspect of it because that's ultimately what you're, training the teams to become proficient at. But ultimately, it's no different to any other consultant out there. Whether you're a consultant that works for Deloitte, whether you're a consultant that implements blockchain frameworks into a company, right? A blockchain consultant, it's still a consultant at the end of the day, right? And what a consultant requires is a lot of questions, right? A lot of back and forth, understanding the business, right? So speaking with ideally the founders of the business, right, who can competently, or like the CTO, competently discuss their workflows, right? And it's a lot of back and forth consulting, right? So what do you do? Which technologies do you use? What sort of infrastructure are you leveraging? Is it AWS? Is it Azure? Is it GCP? Like understanding sort of the backbone in which that company operates, right? And then from there, identifying based on your own knowledge and your own experience where the inefficiencies are and how to, and then from there, you can implement frameworks, right, to automate or at the very least optimize their workflows, right? Because at the end of the day, your goal is to come in and consult them and find out where the inefficiencies are so you can save time and money and effort. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about. Yeah.
Well, that's essentially what a consultant is. It doesn't matter what role you're in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Providing advice and tips and so I think you already answered this question, but what programming languages do you need to become a prompt engineer? And you said that's more the technical side. Prompt engineering, you don't need to know any programming languages.
No, so if you want to go down the actual technical route of being like an ML engineer, then you need to learn things like Python, PyTorch, TensorFlow. You need to learn those sort of technologies. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just scrolling through this because a lot of it is chat. I think this is more of a comment that more of a statement. Sean needs to know about the Flare network. They're a team of machine learning, quantum AI PhDs who built a layer 1 geared towards AI. Do you know much about that?
Is Flare,
I
is
think
that in
Flare is
conjunction with Ripple? It was like an airdrop. Was that the same thing?
That's what I thought. I think it was more of a statement.
Okay.
Any AI platforms that do coding that you recommend?
There are, yeah. So so if you're paying for ChatGPT, right, with GPT-4, it enables you access to the ChatGPT store, right? So it's like an Apple store for GPTs that are trained to do X, Y, and Z, right? To automate X, Y, and Z. So if you type in Google, because I forget the URL off the top of the head, but if you type in Google ChatGPT store, then there is a category programming. There is a programming category, and then there's a GPT model. It's a weird name. It's called Grimacode, Grimacode, something like this, right? So if you just go to the ChatGPT store, go to the programming category, look for that model, and it will literally, with just a simple text prompt, it will start writing lines of code, right? So if you say, I want to build a website for a local gym, it'll start writing out the lines of code for you, right? And then you can copy that and you can put it into something, a text editor or, some sort of online text editor platform where you can see that code, what it looks like in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're just going to do a couple more before we wrap it up here because we're getting to the 7 o'clock mark. Example of a framework implementation, like asking them to use Zapier, etc. think of it as one kind of a little bit of an example of like if you're going to go and build out a framework for a business to implement to automate some of their systems and processes.
Yeah, I'm referring to. So when I say framework, it's similar to, with you would know Danielle with what's it called? The name has escaped me, with blockchain framework. When you're like a business plan type thing. What's that called?
Oh, well, we create lots of different frameworks throughout the diploma of blockchain, but
What's that one called? It's like it's just following. It's basically having your own framework that you're providing the employer with, right? That answers questions essentially. Or, oh man, I can't believe forget that. I did the blockchain course and I forgot.
it
I
might
forgot, I
come
forgot
to
what it's
maybe you're talking
called.
about the tech stack, like how you put the framework of what you're building in your tech stack, or are you talking about
No,
your
no,
business
no.
model canvas?
Yes, the BMC. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that's that. So yeah, yeah. Sorry. So when I referred to framework earlier, that's sort of what I'm referring to, like a BMC block, like a canvas essentially,
Yeah,
right?
a
So
framework
yeah,
for mapping it out. Okay.
yeah. Business model canvas, Lorna. Thank you very much. Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go. See, there's some learnings that you can take and apply.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and well, this is what I try to say to the students a lot that are studying with me the diploma. I think they get so fixated sometimes on the blockchain, or you can get so fixated on, learning all the things about AI or all the things about blockchain. And it's like, no. Learn the frameworks of how you can kind of go and apply. And then go and learn generally. But as a consultant, sometimes it's that jack of all trades, master of none. But then when you get a
Mm.
client and you go in and you might be having a conversation and you might know just enough
Mm.
to be able to give them some pointers or tips or whatever, but you're not an expert in their particular systems or processes. And then you go home and you do your research, but
Exactly.
you're thinking strategically. And that's where the consultant and the strategic and that whole course, the diploma and the advanced diploma, is about applying and thinking strategically, thinking outside of the box. And these frameworks that we give you in the course are just to kind of help you think and use these frameworks.
Exactly.
You can take that business model canvas and you can apply it to so many different ways. So
Yeah, 100%. So, like, for those of you who are interested, going down that path of becoming an AI consultant, that is kind of it's essentially it's a skeleton that you're bringing with you to that business that you're working with, right? So you have a strategic sort of blueprint, of the things that you're going to ask, that will result in a response from them that will be enough for you to work with. Do you know what I mean? And then from there, you'll be able to identify the inefficiencies. Like, anytime that I work with a new client in a new vertical, right, whether it be digital marketing or mining or oil, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm learning while I'm consulting with them. Do you know what I mean? I'm learning things, and then I can go back and then I can refine things and I can put a template together. And then it's like, oh, okay, I know that this is what needs to be automated for the mining industry, or this is what needs to be automated for the recruitment industry. So yeah, it's all just
I
iterating.
I agree on that. And I used to believe to think that I need to know all the things before I could like become a consultant or get out there.
Yeah.
And I say to my students all the time, it's such a big industry, peer-to-peer learning. I learn every single day from my students and they come along and you don't need to know absolutely everything. I think that's where the kind
No.
of the confidence and just getting out there. And sometimes the fake it till you make it, kind of, obviously not faking it completely, like don't go and be a scam artist, but
Yeah.
you don't need to know every single thing inside and
Yeah.
out about every single business.
You can get away with the fundamentals, right? The worst thing is to just sit there, and I'm guilty of this. I have been guilty of this in the past, and sometimes I still am, but I'm more conscious of it now, right? But the worst thing to do before undergoing any sort of new endeavor is to just sit there and ruminate, right? That's the worst thing to do. You need to take action. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer from analysis paralysis, and that's the absolute worst thing. You don't want that.
Yeah. All right. Couple more questions before we wrap it up. Sean, what is your take on AGI? Also, your take on the estimated time frame on AI helping humanity achieving blockchain singularity?
AGI, yeah, artificial general intelligence. So that's scary stuff. that to me, when I think of
Maybe just
AGI,
give people a explanation, and even myself, I don't really fully understand what AGI is. I hear of it all the time. So why is it scary?
so AGI, if you think of the advanced iterations of AGI, we start going down the path of, and this ties in with technological singularity, right? In terms of AI, the final iteration or the final thing to overcome with AI and to achieve with AI and robotics is sentience, right? So sentient, with AI robot with human emotion, right? That's the final sort of thing that needs to be achieved, right? Like I'm talking like an iRobot situation. If anyone's seen that Will Smith movie, okay, that's essentially what it is. It's because I don't know who of you have heard of the Turing test, but the Turing test. So Alan Turing, he's one of the founding fathers of AI, essentially, right? And if AI passes the Turing test, it means that that particular tool is now generating content that is indistinguishable from human, right? So we've got ChatGPT that has passed the Turing test because it's now indistinguishable from human. We've got we've got Midjourney that has passed the Turing test because the art that it generates is now indistinguishable. And now we have video content by Sora that is indistinguishable from human as well, right? So, and then music, it's yet to pass the Turing test. We're not there yet, okay? So AGI, we're not there yet, but that's the final phase of AI, right? That's the final phase of AI where it can now imitate human emotion, right? It can, it's scary to think about, but, dream, it can be sarcastic in person. I don't know who of you have seen there was actually at a conference, there was two robots, one called Sophia, you might have heard of Sophia, and there was another one. And these robots started talking to each other, right? So they were talking to the audience, they were doing a Q&A, they were answering questions from the audience, and then they started talking to each other in their own language that they created on the spot, right? So that's kind of like a form of AGI where it starts getting scary, and it's like, oh shit, we need to regulate this before it gets a bit out of hand. But yeah, that's sort of the final phase essentially of AI capabilities. Yeah.
Yeah, it's to wrap it up, and to everyone that wants to get in contact with Sean, don't worry, we'll get him to share his details in just a moment. His LinkedIn is definitely on the meetup a description. His LinkedIn is, but I've been talking with a few of my friends, so I'm very privileged to have a lot of very skilled people around me. So one of my friends is a software engineer for Microsoft, and another one is the head of cybersecurity for Dell. And the dinner conversation, even though we're all talking about our crypto bags because we're all into crypto, but it was actually more around where where AI was going. And they're actually the topic of conversation, not financial advice, was what were our plans to try to make as much money as we possibly can out of crypto, to then diversify, to put that into other assets because of where we're kind of going now. These guys are a little bit older, but they feel that their jobs, that their software engineer jobs and their cybersecurity jobs, AI is going to take it by their prediction is 2028, by 2030. So really it will come down to, the speculation is trades, jobs that like hands-on kind of jobs that we're still going to need people to do. So I think that it's going to be interesting, exciting, and scary all at the same time the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, the Tesla bot is coming out fairly shortly, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see what that's capable of doing. But, when I think of the last job standing, I think of customer facing jobs, right? Because like I said, the most complicated thing for AI to imitate is human emotion, right? It's that human factor, what makes us us, right? So that's and when you think of that, you think of customer facing roles, whether it be sales or customer service, whatever it may be, right? So scary times ahead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so people want to know how they can get in contact with you. What's the best way for them to follow you, Can they follow you on LinkedIn? Can they follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, definitely LinkedIn. I think that's where I'm posting most of my content at the moment. So it's just Sean Anderson on LinkedIn. So
That's the
that's
best
the
place.
best place to connect with me. Follow, any sort of updates. I'll be posting AI content pretty regularly because obviously I want to, be known as somewhat of an influencer. I hate saying that word, but you know what I mean. Somewhat of
I
a
I don't like influencer. I like
educator.
as an
Let's say that.
educator. I influence, but through an educational kind of perspective, rather than the ones that are trying to influence you to push you a product
Yeah,
or whatever. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Educator. Yeah. So that's the
yeah.
best way to connect with me. That's the best way. Just drop me a message. Happy to have a chat.
Okay. And then this actually question is for the audience, just to kind of get an indication. I know a few people have dropped off, but hypothetically, if I were to convince Sean to maybe do a workshop where we actually went on hands-in learning, he's giving you some of those frameworks with the prompt engineering, would that be something that you guys would be willing to attend? It obviously wouldn't be a free session, but I'm sure we would come up with something that would be quite affordable for people to attend. But if you would be interested in that, if you just put a yes in there, we will maybe consider doing that if I can convince Sean, because he leaves in a few weeks
Yeah.
to go to Dubai. But I just kind of get a bit of an indication. All right. Well, Sean, thank you so much for holding your phone for the last hour and 10 minutes. And I wish you the best of luck getting back into Innovate. I don't think you are tonight.
Yeah.
And for all of you that have joined us online, thank you very much. I hope that you guys all got value and you learned something. We do have, as I said, in 2 weeks' time. So every second Monday, I am doing AMAs. So next Monday is stablecoins. And then the following Monday, I'm actually interviewing somebody from the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. So Web3 gaming. So there's always going to be a fun, interesting topic for us to discuss. And anyone that is interested and also that's on this call, Sean did also study the blockchain course. So I teach the Diploma of Applied Blockchain for TAFE Queensland, the next intake. And it may be, not for sure, I can't say, but it may be my last intake that I take for a while from TAFE. So please go and study that. If you're not in Queensland and you want to study it, please reach out to me on LinkedIn and you can study with me independently through another RTO called Solterra. But as you can hear, we talked about there's lots of different frameworks that you can use and apply into many different business models in the course. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sean, so much. And I hope to get to see you before you leave to Dubai.
We will. Pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.